Welcome everybody to Straight Line MTB. Today we're going to talk about the Nukeproof Mega 290 and we're going to see if it's a smasher or should we trash her. Yeah, boy! Alright, thanks guys for stopping by. So today we're talking about a long-term review of the Nukeproof Mega 290. It's the 2020 model. We did a first ride review on our channel if you want to go check it out and see what we thought after a first ride, but now I've had a few months on this bike and I want to share my experience with you guys. For 2020, Nukeproof's Mega 290 went through a little bit of changes. They've offered it in the carbon model, which we have here, so it's a carbon front triangle, aluminum rear, and they updated the geometry just a bit, and they also worked on the shock tune. So this is a bike that I have been wanting for a few years since it came out. What's held me back is that, from what I read, that it wasn't quite the smasher type bike that I was looking for. It seemed like it might be more on the sporty side. For 2020, they updated the shock system to make it more supple on the small bumps, and that's exactly what I was looking for, so we went ahead and pulled the trigger. All right, so let's climb this monster up this semi-technical trail. Not too bad. A little short and steep. Uh-oh, man down. All right, so obviously for a bike of this size and in the category, it's gonna smash on the downhills, but I think bike companies are trying to focus more on uphill performance, and I think Nukeproof did a great job in that area, because I'm very surprised the way this thing climbs. Coming off the 2020 Orbea Occam that I reviewed earlier, that bike was really snappy and climbed really well. I don't feel like I lose a ton of climbing prowess with this bike. It climbs up really well. The long wheelbase is, a little bit more of a handful, but I think it also helps with the traction. One thing I did notice is that when you use the lockout switch on the rear shock, I felt like I was getting a notchy feeling, almost like it's springing back when I was pedaling. So I did find that I climb with this bike open at all times. I took it on our cross-country loop here locally. It's about a little over 11-mile loop. I was only about 4 minutes slower than I was on the fastest bike that I've ridden, so that was pretty surprising, especially for me because I'm a big boy. All right, so now we know that I've said how great this bike climbs, and let's find out how it goes downhill. Well, friends, it goes downhill just fine. Actually, it goes downhill really exceptionally. Getting it, dropping into the culvert. Hit some little burns. This bike is just a monster truck on the downhills. I know on a first ride review I complained a little bit about it on the flat berm jump style trails, that it was a little bit slower than the trail bike. Well, luck has it that after that video I hit that same trail and beat my fastest time by about 10 seconds. So I think once I started getting more comfortable with the bike, I'm able to find the differences of that long wheelbase and throwing it around a little bit more. So on those trails, the fast, smooth jump berm trails, it's a beast. It hugs the ground. You just unweight it and it'll want to get off the ground. This is more of a let's plow. It will obviously hit a jump, but it's not the bike that you're gonna like unweight and it's gonna jump off that rock. She's a big girl and she wants to go fast and stick to the ground. So she's most likely just gonna take that hit and keep moving, which is not a problem for me because that's exactly the kind of bike that I wanted. I wanted this big bike that's gonna take those hard hits. So that was pretty good. No, that was great. That was awesome. Then moving on to like the steep trails with the chunk thrown in, another opportunity for me to check out how awesome this bike is. It really is good. Throwing it in those turns, it just takes it. We get into some trouble. She's got the extra suspension there that's gonna protect you and take care of you. I'm the type of rider that gets into that kind of trouble. I punch above my pay grade, and this bike really just holds you nicely. So being in that long wheelbase is helpful because you get more traction. In the sharp turns, it's more work to get around those turns, but you get used to it with it. You get used to it. But taking it on my favorite type of trail, just the nasty, chunky, rocky, straight line trails, is where this bike really shined. I was finding myself rolling over big chunky rocks where normally on this rocky trail I would go around those, like on the Orbea. This bike had me going faster, which at times got really scary. But again, that's where that wheelbase and the slack head tube angle really inspires a lot of confidence. So I was able to just smash through. And actually, of course, on that trail, I beat my fastest time by 5 seconds, which was pretty amazing. So obviously I'm gushing over this bike, and it's great. I know there was some people are concerned about the water bottle cage not being inside the frame. I was concerned about it because that's always been a turn off for me, but I pulled the trigger anyway, and I got used to it. I don't usually ride and pull the bottle, so it's I usually stop and drink. So I get it. It's kind of more of a pain, but it wasn't too bad. So something else I would have liked to have seen for this bike is it is a carbon front triangle and aluminum rear triangle. I would have liked to have seen it be a full carbon frame. I'm on the bigger side at over 200 pounds, so occasionally I do feel that rear end flex and the turns and some of the rockier trails. The rotor sits really close to where the brake caliper is mounted, so you can see where it has rubbed onto that. And also I did notice that the paint chips pretty easily, so I don't know if it's just a lower quality paint or it's just a really thin paint, but that is something to note. And the trails that we're gonna ride this bike in, there's a lot of rocks being thrown up and rubbing inside the chainstay, so it has seen those action scars. But another thing to note that is in the really chunky, rocky, chattery section, this is a really quiet bike. It's going to be as quiet as your drivetrain will allow. So this XT 12 speed is really quiet, so you don't hear any cable rattling, any slapping. So that was a good plus, because I hate loud bikes. It just throws me off. So that brings me to this section. After riding it, would I still buy it? From my experiences, I'm gonna say yes. I generally don't keep bikes very long. This bike's probably gonna be on the chopping block soon. Not because it's not a great bike, but just because that's what I do. But it is exactly what I was looking for. You know, it's not as nimble as you would like it to be, but it's a big bike. I'm trying to take it to the downhill park and hit the chunky trail. So I'm really happy with its performance in that section, and then sprinkle on how amazing it climbs for its size. That was a big plus for me. Who do I think this bike is for? Obviously, it's somebody like me that's looking for a second bike, like a big bike to pair with your trail bike or maybe even your all mountain bike. I do feel like you could probably get away with it as a one bike if you do have those gnarly chunky trails that you have to climb to, because it's not going to kill you. But if you are looking for a snappy climber, it doesn't have that snap when you push the pedals. It just kind of it goes with you. If you are somebody who likes to jump off the rocks or pop off things, this is also not a bike that you'll want. But if you are looking to go mock speeds, slapping laps, and crushing rocks with your teeth, this bike is going to save you through those trails. So I would say she did pretty well. All right, everybody, thank you for stopping by and watching this video. Like and subscribe to our channel for upcoming reviews, such as the new SQ Labs 60X saddle that I just put on and I'm going to test and do a review, and also the new Manitou Mezzer Pro 29, which is pretty shocking, so you'll want to check that out. Thank you again for joining us. Catch us on all the social media platforms at Straightline MTB, and also straightlinemtb.com, where I will be doing a more in-depth review of this bike as well as other reviews that we do. So catch me outside. How about that?